In the medieval game Clanfolk, you'll build a village and won't have to worry about war or battles. The true enemy of this beautiful strategy game are the seasons. Winter turns the tranquil settling in Clanfolk into a tough struggle for survival and brings logistical problems in particular. The manpower and skills of each clan member are urgently needed to have enough firewood and food to survive the coldest days. The best thing about these kinds of games is that you form little tales, a toy drama playing out half in the game and half in your own head. Partly this is thanks to judicious clicking and perpetual editing of pawn behavior. But personalities, quirks and ability feel less significant here. It quickly becomes a game of unlocking the next bit of equipment. Unfortunately, it still feels far too similar to Rimworld. Clanfolk is a desaturated, rough-looking version of that same design goal, released nearly a decade later. Ultimately, a fresh theme isn't enough to get me invested in reliving the early access journey of a pawn management game, no matter how many Scottish Highlanders muck themselves in front of their horrified children. In the original building simulation, The Wandering Village, you simply take your village on an exciting journey. This new colony simulation game comes with a twist. You build a village on the back of a giant, wandering creature called Onbu. The objective is to build a settlement, and form a symbiotic relationship with the Colossus as the world around is littered with poisonous lands. This makes the Wandering Village a unique and challenging game. Not only do you have to manage your village, its inhabitants, resources, food production, and the like, but you also must pay close attention to the creature and take care of it. As the game progresses, you will be able to recruit more members of the community, gather rarer resources, etc. Some of the nomads that you encounter can be poisoned as well and will die soon. The UI, at first, appears a bit overwhelming but becomes extremely simple once you spend a few minutes with the game. Managing the workforce and redirecting them to different jobs becomes really simple with the intuitive interface. Managing not only your village but also a giant creature is a unique concept that is mostly well done. This colony sim is relaxing and with some new twists a great title to try. Dawn of Man is a colony sim set in prehistoric times, where you guide your tribe through the ages. In Dawn of Man, players build and nurture a settlement of prehistoric people through the ages. The game begins in the Stone Age, with only a few tents and a handful of people, and tasks such as hunting, gathering, and crafting will allow your small tribe to gain knowledge and unlock new technologies. Over time, your people will grow and learn, progressing from the Stone Age through to the Iron Age. Players must help their people to survive, expand, and evolve, all the while keeping them safe, warm, and fed through the challenges which nature throws at them. The challenge of free play mode, beyond surviving, is achieving certain milestones, acquiring certain population numbers, constructing a stone circle, and so on. Achieving these milestones will unlock new maps for free play, and the next two modes of play. Challenges, with twists on the existing gameplay, like having you guide a herd of mammoths through the snow. And creative, the game's sandbox mode, with no threats but also no achievements. Dawn of Man is a relaxing and enjoyable Stone Age simulation which covers an era not often touched upon by these type of games. It has a nice relaxed pace, and a few different modes. When the main thing a game has to distinguish itself from all the other city builders is its cast of beavers, it lives or dies on how hard it leans into that. Tasked with building an ever-expanding settlement for your adorable little population of beavers, the game falls into a steady rhythm of unlocking new technologies while dealing with environmental changes such as droughts. As in the best management games, succeeding in Timberborne is all about a good juggling act. You have to ensure there's a steady supply of wood while also making sure there's plenty of housing and storage, while also making progress towards more useful buildings. Picking the right moment to invest in flower production or reforesting is vital. But unfortunately there really isn't that much here to distinguish Timberborne from other, similar settlement builders. There is undeniable charm in its beaver denizens, as well as the novel wooden technology they build. Its landscaping options and all the potential they open up for big brain thinkers might give it the edge to stay sharp for a while to come. And for those who simply want a settlement management game with cute beavers, Timberborne will do nicely. Stranded Alien Dawn is part Rimworld and part tower defense game, with a little bit of The Sims. the survival colony builder's premise isn't all that original. Keep a small group of colonists alive on an alien planet while facing food shortages, alien attacks, harsh weather, diseases, and personality conflicts. But what it does wonderfully with that standard setup is generate memorable stories of disaster, survival, occasional comedy, and genuine white-knuckle rescues. Alien Dawn has excellent tools that give you the freedom to dictate every second of your colonists' day. It took a full in-game year to get everyone to safety, and that endgame was tense and exciting. Stranded Alien Dawn has some flexibility when it comes to difficulty levels, including a peaceful mode where alien insects are docile and you get a permanent happiness bonus for each of your survivors. If you want to turn off bug attacks and enjoy the game as a peaceful home builder and farming sim, you can. Or you can go the other way and make things more challenging with more random disasters, or heightened insect attack at nights. This colony simulation generates stories of triumph, disaster, and white-knuckle rescues. Stranded Alien Dawn is a modern evolution of Rimworld and worth a try. Against the Storm conquered place one of our city building list as a surprising newcomer. This game offers endless hours of fantasy building and is a roguelike, strategy and city builder game mix set in a dark fantasy world. Against the Storm has some really unique gameplay elements. Each map will start with a basic hearth, storage, and some units and access to some basic city buildings. There will also be some resource nodes on the map. The nodes will be randomized for each map, each time. Every game will be unique, as well as how you will win it. In each round of Against the Storm, you will select a location on the map to try and create a settlement in. Each location will offer different modifiers, benefits, and disadvantages. What's great about Against the Storm is that there is a choice between almost all the elements that can happen to you in the game. Each cornerstone or order you select is one of several. When you decide to open a cursed dangerous grove, the resulting curse is on you because you chose to open it. It is not a classical city builder and brings some new way to the city building genre. Although the learning curve is steep as there are so many things going on, once you start to get it, the gameplay is ridiculously addictive. There are so many different ways to tackle the things that are happening to you. This game is more like a city survival building game like Frostpunk. Against the Storm is a gorgeous building game gem with Warcraft graphics that devours dozens of hours of play even in the early access. Frostpunk combines the best elements of survival, city building, and 4X games into one of the more captivating strategy games. Frostpunk sets the stage with a compelling and timely backstory in which climate change devastates humanity in the late 1800s. It's in the gameplay, though, where Frostpunk shines, mixing up bits from various familiar strategy games into something like an inverse Tropico. Rather than selfishly building power over a tropical paradise, here you make decisions for all of what remains of humanity in the midst of a frozen wasteland. Hope and discontent serve as metrics to indicate how you are doing. While managing to keep a city thriving is tough, the pace in which Frostpunk reveals each new aspect seems to be ideal. There's always a new carrot dangled in front of you to keep you hooked, whether it's a search party exploring a cave or the development of a new technology. The story is engrossing and can go in a variety of ways based on the choices you make. All of this is relayed through outstanding aesthetics and graphical design that make staring at a frozen wasteland more appealing than you'd expect. One playthrough of Frostpunk's main campaign should take around 15 hours. Frostpunk is beautiful, motivating and compelling, but also sad, evocative, and terrifying. This game is still one of the best survival city builder games so far. Dwarf Fortress is a colony sim masterwork of procedural generation. At its most basic level, Dwarf Fortress is a settlement sim. With a small group of dwarfs, you embark from the mountain homes to stake your claim on a plot of distant wilderness. It's up to you to establish a fortress capable of lasting the ages, from the ground up, in the typical dwarven fashion. At first, Dwarf Fortress can be deceptively simple. Clunky to control, maybe, but when you're marking out tunnels to mine and trees to chop it seems easy enough. But this changes after a while. You're responsible for every component of your fledgling dwarven society, and there are a hell of a lot of components. Dwarf Fortress is only masquerading as a colony sim. As well as the logistics and managerial decision-making, Dwarf Fortress is a wonder of procedural world building. It's a storytelling toolbox calling itself a game. The absurd depth of this simulation gives Dwarf Fortress a frankly unreasonable amount of detail. If you're willing, it's an experience you won't match anywhere else. Behind the cute facade, and despite the cuddly characters, Oxygen Not Included is a real colony building simulation. Much of Cly Entertainment's game is based on physics and chemistry backgrounds that require you to learn the ropes. At the latest, when gases like chlorine, hydrogen, oxygen, and carbon dioxide waft through the area and you realize that layers are forming, there might be one or the other aha effect, or at least you remember your school days. The great strength or the great hurdle of Oxygen Not Included is that the complexity continues to increase even after numerous hours. For every little box that makes up the game world, all sorts of calculations are constantly being made. What gases or liquids are there and how do they behave? How warm or cold is it? How much mass of what is there? How do the other fields with their contents influence this field? Oxygen Not Included is an extremely complex and challenging space sandbox that, to all appearances, wants to distract from the depth of the game with its cute visuals. If you get involved with this depth, the numerous problem solving and the increasingly elaborate constructions in the largely aimless sandbox, you'll get a highly motivating, cutely staged gaming experience that can still provide surprises and chaos after hours. Rimworld is simply a game like no other, and it is a true sandbox. Furthermore, it is one of the best colony simulation games out there. Depending on how you set up your campaign and what mods you choose to use, Rimworld can be played as an RPG, as a colony builder, as a simulation, as an RTS, a survival game, or even as a co-op experience, among others. Whether you want to focus on playing as one character or a small group that you slowly build up to be strong enough to take down any threat, you want to just sit back and think out every aspect of a huge, complicated base, or you just want a survival experience where you try your best to make it out of an inhospitable environment, Rimworld's got what you're looking for. Yes, it's a top-down 2D game with relatively simple, cartoon graphics, but within that framework, there's truly an astonishing number of ways to play this game that all work very differently from each other and are all completely viable. Rimworld stands as a captivating and immersive experience, offering a unique blend of survival, strategy, and storytelling. Its deep gameplay mechanics, emergent narratives, and intricate web of decision-making keeps players engrossed for countless hours.